Hello and welcome back. I'm Jacquelene Closemore and you're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV, and you're coming to me and I'm coming to you. We're both synchronising from across the world and my lounge room in Melbourne, so it's kind of exciting. What an interesting week it's been. Of course, Venus is retrograde now, Mercury is retrograde, Jupiter's retrograde. I think Saturn still, Saturn's also retrograde. Look, why not just bung them all in there? Frankly, it's been quite an interesting time, and interesting doesn't even cover it. When people sort of say, what do you think 2020 is going to be like? And at the very start of the year, me and Angelica, my guest that day, and good friend, it was on the 11th of January, that episode, 10th, 11th, and we both sort of looked at each other like this and sort of went, well, and hasn't it ever been that? So I'd like to thank all of our viewers, listeners and otherwise for tuning in. Now, today I just wanted to cover the topic of appropriation. Oh, okay. Now, often that's to do with, cultural things. But what I'm going to talk about today is why, people sort of say, why haven't you published your tarot deck yet, Jacqueline, or your book yet? And I'm like, well, there's this thing called appropriation and fraudulent stealing of copyright. On Facebook, there's actually a group, and I'm not going to name them because, frankly, I don't want a whole heap of people flocking to them and joining them to do this. But there's like 18,000 people on this group that one of my friends on Facebook, who is a tarot deck author and quite a brilliant tarot deck author for 20, 30 years now, their work is recognisable worldwide. And on this group, this guy's gone on this group and found them, and he's found his actual own tarot deck and book ripped off onto files that people are able to just download for free. And they then go and laminate the cards and they put them out and go, yeah. And they even show you how to print these. And, there are that many pirated copies of decks out there that are printed and sold for $5 that, it takes a lot of money to print a quality, publishing's not a cheap thing to do. And there are these decks out there that are like $5 that are complete rip-offs, very poor quality card. And some people know that they're using a fraudulent deck and other people don't know. I think one of the things to do is maybe buy it directly off the author or go to their website and have a look at where it's being sold. Like they might have a link to a particular page on Amazon. I kind of really want to kind of emphasize this because a lot of times in spirituality, I've seen over the decades, people rebrand stuff and call it their own. And it's really dodgy, And the bizarre thing I found on this page where this guy's deck's being shared was the post was written, good vibes only, people. Here's this one for you to use for free. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. This is this guy's only source of income. This is this guy's life work. He's given up and sacrificed so much to dedicate his passion to his work. And there you go. Just do it for free and rip it off. And there's nothing wrong with that, is there? Yes, there is, actually, because it's like if I went for a day job. Can you imagine that? I mean, I'm not exactly, Paula Abdul or Jennifer Lopez or, someone like that. But certainly in my town where I live in Melbourne, if I was to go for a day job, yeah, right, they're just going to Google my name and that's going to be the end of any prospective interview here. And this is my full-time work. I'm very blessed to have psychic, healing, empath work, space clearing, all the things I do, and even freelance writing and presenting at events. I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful to have that as my work. I really am. But that's all I can do because, a lot of the recruiters in this town, they're my clients and they love my work as a reader. That's why they keep coming back. But guess what? They already know me. And I had a joking conversation where I wasn't joking. And I actually said to one of the recruiters, I said, look, I said, it'd be hilarious me trying to get a day job if you were the recruiter and you were recruiting for the company that was thinking of hiring me. And she just laughed and I laughed. And I said, because we know that employer's not going to take a chance on me because my name's immediately recognizable if someone wants to Google it, if someone actually wants to bother. So that's the end of it, isn't it? I said, you're not even going to put me forward, are you? And she says, well, I couldn't. I said, I know. And it's the truth of it. I mean, I don't have a problem with her saying that. It's the honest truth of her situation. She would like to. She actually said, I would like to be able to put you forward, but I actually couldn't. And I said, I know, right? So therefore, someone coming along and ripping off for free a deck of tarot cards that someone has spent decades perfecting and honing the understanding of the metaphysics behind that, when that's all they can do, yeah, it kind of sucks, really. It really, this is often our only income. And it's why I haven't bothered publishing my own deck of cards, because what does copyright mean these days? I mean, fair enough. The thing that's fair enough that most authors are going to find fair enough is if you're doing a reading for a client and you're trying to explain how you came to the answer you're giving, and you use a screenshot of that particular card or the spread of cards that you're using, and you use that to explain how you got to the answer you got. Well, this actual author of decks and cards actually said, well, that would actually be fine. And I agree with that myself. And I've written stuff for magazines and I've been published in a book. I wrote a chapter. Hey, woo, there I go, I'm an author. All right. I would have no problem with someone quoting, what I've said. Not misquoting, because that's another kettle of fish here. But to just say use my words as their own, that's another thing that's really bad. So if you sort of look at what you're doing on your spiritual path and you think, oh, it doesn't matter, these people have got lots of money, they probably haven't. They're probably not as rich as you think, but that's not really even the point. The point is what's authentic, and it's that authenticity that shines through, and that's what actually gives you more energy. And when people are looking to come to you for a reading, if you're ever wanting to be a reader, most people who want the truth as an answer are going to want to come to you because they feel that authenticity. How do they feel that authenticity? Well, they're not going to feel it on a fraudulent deck. They're not going to feel it if you think it's okay to rip off someone's work. They're not going to feel that as being fine. And you shouldn't either, because why would you settle for less than the truth of something, or something that's genuine and got the actual original intended energy in it? And like even one of the posts said, oh, look, we've charged these with our own energy after they've laminated these ripped off cards. And it's like, oh, yeah, I don't even know where to start on that one. So it's kind of a really important thing to think about is the reality of what you're putting out, what you're doing. Is it real? What are you offering that's actually a point of difference? Like, not just copying everyone else, because it's been done like a dinner. I've seen all the different forms of Reiki that came out that were called Reiki this and Reiki something else and Reiki something, Reiki upside down. And really it's just repackaging, rebranding and changing something slightly so that you can trademark it. And I remember one spiritual teacher telling me about 2 decades ago, he referred to it as man. But anyhow, I'm going to rephrase that a bit and paraphrase it. There you go. His name was Bruce Way. And there you want to talk about people taking ideas and doing something with them. It's kind of funny that I'm using him as an example. But, he said, man must have a system or he must create his own. So, basically what that means is that you either have to work within a system that's already existing or you have to go and create your own. And so I believe in working outside of the system as best you can, within the law, that is, and within spiritual law too. But you see, there's the system again, right? Because what's spiritual law? I guess when people sort of say there's no right and wrong, there's no duality, there's no polarity and all this sort of thing, I'm just sort of thinking that they're shortcutting on ethics. And there's nothing more important in our field, particularly the psychic field, as ethics. Well, compassion probably first, but that comes into ethics anyway, because if you're doing something ethically, you're going to care. If you're doing something ethically, you're going to speak the truth of something. If there's a difficult aspect to what you have to say to someone, we're going to find a way to give them tools to deal with the difficulty rather than saying, oh, by the way, you get run over by a car. Anyway, good luck with that. No, it's, hey, hey, on Wednesday, you might want to be careful in traffic. And look, if you could just stay off the road, that'd be great. Do you think you could stay home that day? Maybe something like that. Um, Certainly on an eclipse day, if you've got an eclipse going through your sun on the day of the eclipse, and it's your sun it's going through within, a few short degrees, probably would stay home that day. So all those 0 degrees Cancer people on the 21st of June, yeah, you might want to just veg, maybe, if that's possible, or at least if you are out on the road, take more awareness. It doesn't have to be an absolute, knockout situation if you bring the awareness to the situation. So bring the awareness to, is that card deck real? Is that card deck that I'm using real? And is the card deck that reader is using real? And if it isn't, do I want that reading? Because if they're not aware of it, why? Because is there enough discernment there for them to read accurately for you? And if they are aware of it and they don't care, is that really someone that you want to trust with, what's going to be most helpful for you in your life direction? Are they going to be making good choices in their life? Have a think about it. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get up and walk out of there. I'm going to first say to them, look, are you aware that deck is a rip-off? And if they say no, I'm going to say, well, look, it is, and I wish you the best, but look, here's your money, bye. I'm actually not going to stay for that reading. And the reason I'm going to give that person the money is because they didn't know. If they did know, and they are very proud and loud about it, I'm going to tell them that I'm still not staying, and I'm not going to pay them either. So neither should you. So, just something to think about. I think ethics are really important, and because we're working in the intangible, people can think that, it's a gift, so it should be for free. Okay, sure, well, you pay my electricity and I'll do this for free for you. You pay my mortgage and feed my children, it'll be fun. That's what I think. Anyway, you have a lovely day. I'll catch you next week, and we'll start talking about fun stuff then. In the meantime, lovely shows ahead on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. Lots of love. Bye.